Hi everybody, it's Mike Armiger again. You might recognise me from the previous video that I did for anxiety, and I'm back again to just talk to you about a couple of things that we can possibly think about doing with regards to how we manage uncertainty in uncertain times. I hope you're well. I know this comes to you yet another challenging week, another challenging month and time for our profession. But I hope that some of these tips are just a few things that maybe you can think about for both yourselves, maybe your colleagues, and maybe your loved ones around you. Where I'm going to start is something which I think we often overlook in our profession, and that is giving ourselves some credit. We've accomplished a huge amount already over the last 6 to 10 months during this pandemic. We've had to adapt in ways that we never thought that we might have to, or that we might be able to when we first started. We've had to spend time thinking about things that we never had to maybe think about before. We've moved our response into different areas where we're plugging gaps, and whereas that might not be ideal and it might not be what we want, we should take a moment to just take stock of the incredible things that we've managed to achieve individually and collectively also. I think it's important that we give ourselves that credit, because we've had many times, I'm sure, certainly I have, where I've woken up in the morning and just thought that the day is beyond me currently, and that there's so many things that we have to accomplish and do that just seem like there's so many hurdles in the way to us managing to make progress and to achieve things for our families and our young people. But in reality, we have overcome those obstacles time and time and time again. So I think it's just important that we take stock to understand how much we've already done and how much we've already adapted. The second thing I want to talk to you about is the ever-changing uncertainty, and especially heightened in my view around guidance that comes out, and around not just guidance from the Department for Education, but also whether it be government guidance or public health guidance. One of the things that I've tried to explain to leaders is that the guidance that is currently coming out is just so much to comprehend in the first instance. When you read it, it actually means that we have to spend time digesting that and understanding how it relates to previous or future guidance, and really building a plan for our school communities about how we will respond and what our offer is. So when that guidance is released, I know, especially in things like social media and consuming news and things like that, that our reaction is usually to respond and to react to what we've just seen, thinking it seems impossible. How can we do this? How can we do that? And of course, we can't always eliminate those reactions. That's not what I'm saying. But I personally have encouraged many people to make a plan for when that guidance is released. So it might be that I might initially hear the announcement or wonder what, or read up on it initially and maybe have a quick glance at it. But I also realize that my plan involves, when that guidance is released, my plan involves also not thinking that I have to interpret that word for word, because I know that there's going to have to be conversations before we react to it. There's going to have to be things that we do collectively within our school communities on an authority basis, all of those things, before we can enact on any of that. So my plan for the guidance releasing is usually, personally, for me to step away from social media, because it's very easy to send off a status update or a tweet or whatever it is. And I think sometimes what happens is that we then see other people's anxiety, we then see other people's worries and concerns, and that doesn't necessarily help. So a plan for when guidance is released is generally a really good idea. I also wanted to mention to you about the difficulty that we have at the moment to plan ahead. And many people that I speak to in both education and mental health services all talk about the fact that there is a lack of a sense of hope, because they're not able to have anything maybe to look forward to, because they're not able to make those plans further down the line. And I do absolutely understand and accept that. And it is, of course, something that we're all struggling with, whether it be a holiday, whether it be seeing relatives, whether it be a day out, whether it just be, being able to be outside even. Of course, all of those things hinder our ability to look forward to things and to hope. But on the other side, one of the things that we haven't had taken away from us is our ability to plan anything at all. We can still make plans. We can still plan to do things. We're just, however, limited in where those plans might lie. So one of the things that I've seen a huge uptake in are people rediscovering aspects of themselves, whether it's hobbies, whether it's, movie nights that they used to have on a Wednesday, but they couldn't because they were busy working, whether it was making pizzas, whether it was sitting down and playing a game, whatever that was. It just meant that previously our lives were so busy and there was so much in them maybe, and we were maybe out and about a lot more. And now it might be time to be able to rediscover those things, whether it's learning something new or whether it is being able to make a plan that week to just do something that we look forward to, even if it's watching your favorite program with one of your favorite snacks, whatever it might be, it's something. So making a plan hasn't gone out the window. We can still plan to do things. We can still have things in our lives that we might look forward to. It's just that they might be on a bit of a smaller scale right now. So let's ensure that we still plan to do things. Let's ensure that we still build in things to look forward to. But planning really is essential, because even if we're out and about and we're back to normality with how busy our lives are, sometimes catching up with people still requires a lot of planning. It still requires us to do that. So, I still encourage people to make those plans in whatever way they need to, and whatever those plans might lie. So we can still have things to look forward to, is my point. But it just might mean that they lie in different places. That also brings me on to another thing that I wanted to mention. During these winter months as well, it's something that is always on my mind for when we transition from the lighter hours into sometimes the darker and colder winters. And so I think this is also important and a good strategy for where we are right now with our current circumstances in being restricted to outside and physical distancing and all of those things. And that is to try and build safety within our homes. There's a concept in Scandinavia called Hygge, Hygge, if I haven't said it properly. And that is this concept of comfort and multi-sensory feelings of safety within our homes. And it's something which I think we can learn a lot from. And it's encouraging us to promote senses within our environments. And it might be the smell of a candle. It might be some little lights that you've got on. It might be a lamp. It might be coloured lighting. It might be a blanket. It might be all of those things. But building that sense of comfort within our homes, especially at the moment, is really crucial, because it gives us not only just something to look forward to, but it makes us feel safe in our environments. So anything that we can do around that on a multisensory level in particular is a really good idea. Somebody was telling me the other day that one of the things that they really look forward to at the moment is curling up on the sofa with a blanket, with a bit of reading and just holding that warm mug in their hands. And it's something that makes them feel safe and makes them feel like they're able to cope with their immediate environment and just lock out the world outside temporarily. So building that multi-layered safety within our homes, built on senses, on all of the things that we have available to us and our existing resources. It doesn't have to be expensive. It could be things that you already have. For me, is a really good idea. And what was lovely the other week were how some parents were talking to me about the fact that they made some blanket dens for some of the children, and they all sat and had some hot chocolate with some marshmallows in. It can be that simple. It can be that simple. And it's about aspects of rediscovering joy and comfort within our own environments. The other thing that I just wanted to point towards as well is that, it's really important for us to make sure that finding joy, rediscovering elements of hope and all of those things are things that we make an effort to do. I try to watch something funny every day if I can. And that's not because, I prefer to watch comedy over anything else. I very love serious documentaries and all of those things. But I realise that there needs to be a bit more of a lightness to my days and my life at the moment. So it might be something funny. It might be something hopeful. I always love the T-Mobile adverts. They always tend to cheer me up a little bit and put a smile on my face. It might be a silly joke. Don't get me started on silly jokes. I'll be here forever. But just something that can bring a smile to our faces. The other thing that we can think about with that is that these things can be found in school as well. I often used to find in leadership that what would happen was that, I'd get bogged down so much with the paperwork and the development planning and all the things that I had to deal with, and sometimes all the challenges that we faced, that I would forget about these things. And I would forget about these things, and I would feel like I was And occasionally I would go down to a classroom and just spend some time with the children and young people, whether it would be, seeing one of the children rediscover something in terms of their learning, whether it would be a joke that one of the children had told me, or whether it would just be their lack of concern for anything that was going on right now in the wider world, but just their focus on something that, was very much in front of them. I remember a day where a child was talking to me all about the big red dog. And, it made me realize that, many of the things that I'm talking about are not unimportant, but, in the child's eyes, they're seeing the world in a different way. And maybe I could learn a lot from that. So, whether it's watching a child with an uncontrollable laugh, or whether it is being able to see those aspects of humour and joy and hope reflected back at us in whatever form inside and outside of school, I think it's a really good idea for us to focus on those things too. And lastly, my just message to everybody is as well is to remember that, education support, that the whole point of all of the services that we have available is to make sure that we reach you before you're in a place of overwhelm. So even if it's just to maintain your equilibrium and to just keep that sense of balance, even if things aren't horrendous for you yet, and even if things aren't overwhelming and that you're able to cope, it still might be worth giving us a call to just maintain that place of balance and that state. So remember that we are here at any time should you need. And I wish you all the very best of luck for the rest of this half term. And I might also say it, and I apologize if I do, but I would wish you all a very, very Merry Christmas holidays. And I hope that you all have a really good rest and some really valuable time with both yourselves and some loved ones in whatever form that may be. Please take care, and I'll look forward to possibly seeing you again soon.